Hello everyone, welcome back to PMAT1100. So after you collecting data and you already learn how to display those data using pie chart and bar chart, there's another way to display data so that you can understand more about those data, which is we're going to use coordinate system. So in this section 1.5, I wanted to talk about coordinate system. What is coordinate system? So let's get started. Okay, section 1.5 coordinate system. I have to say that this section is, I think, is the one of the easiest one in the whole course, for the whole semester. This will be the easiest section of all. Okay, so don't worry too much, it will be very easy. All right, so what is coordinate system? So coordinate system including a coordinate system is just a place, it is a tool for you to display data. Okay, it's like pie chart and bar chart. Remember when you draw the bar chart, you have to draw it on the x and y axis. So coordinate system including x-axis and y-axis. So the x-axis is always vertical, is always perpendicular to the y-axis, the vertical one. Okay, so the x-axis will be the horizontal axis and the y-axis will be the vertical axis, and they are always perpendicular to each other. So it's going to be something like this. So I have excuse me. So I have a coordinate system like this. Sorry guys, I'm still having allergy, so just bear with me. Okay, so the vertical one we call the y-axis, and horizontal we call that the x-axis. You remember when you draw the bar chart and you draw the vertical one and the horizontal one like this, right? Just a part of this, the coordinate system. So if you look at this plane right here, the vertical axis and the horizontal axis is dividing my plan, my paper, into 4 parts, right? So this is the first part, the second part here, the third one, and the fourth one. So the first part we call the first quadrant. Okay, it's the first quadrant. The second one we call the second quadrant, the third quadrant, and the fourth quadrant. Okay, so each point on the plane, on the xy plane, or on the coordinate system plane, okay, have 2 components. Okay, first of all, if I pick a point right here, okay, I call that a point A, and this point A has 2 components. The first component we call the x component, and the second component we call the y component. Okay, so the y component corresponding to a value on the y-axis, and the x component is corresponding to the one of the value on the x-axis. Okay. I can graph or I can locate any point on the coordinate system as long as I know the x component and the y component of that point. Okay, and the intersection point between the x-axis and the y-axis we call this the origin. So this is the origin. Okay, the origin always has coordinate 0 and 0. It means the x component is 0 and the y component is 0. So point A has x and y, right? X component and y component. So we call this the coordinate of point A. It's the coordinate of point A. Okay. Let's start with example. Now, what if I have a 3 point A, B, and C, and this 3 point has coordinate 1, 2, 4, 2, 4, 3, for example, and -1, -3. Okay, it's 3 point. Okay, and I want to display. Okay, I want to display this 3 point here on the coordinate system. How am I gonna do that? Okay, so we're gonna just go ahead and draw the XY coordinate system. So sometimes we call the rectangular coordinate system. It's kind of the same thing. If you go to a higher level math, we call the Cartesian coordinate system. They all the same thing. Okay, they just have different name, but they all the same. So I'm gonna draw the XY plane, XY coordinate system, and I'm gonna have the x. I'm gonna divide the x-axis into equal increment. Okay, so over here will be 1, and over here 2, 3 here, 4 here. Okay, so on the left hand side will be -1, -2, -3, and -4, and we have a bunch more. So this is go to infinity, so it's go forever. Okay, it's not gonna stop, but I'm gonna just go ahead put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over here 1, -1, -2, 2, -5. Okay, and the same thing over here on the top. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of course, there's more if you want to have more. And over here we have -1, -2, -3, -4, something like that. Okay, and you have to notice that, you see, from 0 to 1, from 1 to 2, okay, the increment I have, they equal each other. Okay, you see, from 0 to -1, the distance from origin 0 to 1 is the same as from 1 to -1. So you have to divide the x coordinate, the x-axis and y-axis into equal increment. Okay, what if you put 1 over here is about this much, but you set from here to here is 1? It's okay, but it doesn't make sense. Okay, it's not really good. What if I'm gonna put over here from here to here is 1, but from 1 to 2 you put all the way over here? So this doesn't make sense, right? For example, if I put over here, instead of putting 3, I'm gonna put in 2. Then you see that from 1 to 2, you see the distance from 1 to 2 will be longer the distance from 0 to 1, right? Which doesn't make sense. So if you draw the coordinate system like that, it will be very terrible. Okay, you don't want to deal with that kind of coordinate system. So every increment must be equal. All right, remember that. All right, so after you have a coordinate system, I'm gonna grab this 3 point A, B, C. On this coordinate system, I'm going to use the red color. Okay, so the first component is the x component, is corresponding to the x-axis, so this 1 right here, and the second one corresponding to the y-axis will be 2, so 2 right here, 1 right here. So point A is right here, right? So this is point A. Everybody see that? Right here. There you are. That's point A. And over here we're gonna have what? We have the x component is 4, so 4 right here, right? And the y component is 3, so 3 right here. So we have point B over here. Okay. And now point C is -1 and -3, so -3 right here, so point C is right here. It's very easy, you see that? So as long as you can locate the x component and the y component of each point, then you can graph the point on the coordinate system easily. Okay, so it depends on the question. Sometimes you just need to graph the point. You don't need to connect on the point. But what if they ask you to connect on the point? That's very easy. You just go ahead and connect on the point if they're asking you. Okay, if not, that's okay. You don't have to connect them. Okay, but if they ask you to connect on the point to understand more about the numerical data, then just go ahead and connect on the point. Okay, so over here we have 3 points, so this is what I can connect them. So I just connect them like this. Okay, from A to B and from A to C. Okay, it doesn't matter, but you're not gonna connect from C to B. Okay, just connect all the point. Just connect on the point. You're not gonna connect C and B. No, you don't do like that. Just connect A to B, B and A to C. Okay, so that is how you're gonna display data on the coordinate system, because most of the data you collect from the experiment or from the poll, you can write it in coordinates in x and y order pair form. Okay, so you can write it in x component and y component. So that's why you can display that on the coordinate system. So if you can write like this, we call that order pair form. Okay, so this is called order pair form. This is order pair form. Okay, it's order pair form. Alright. As long as you have a bunch of data and you can write it in order pair form, it means you can write it in x and y component, then you can display this on the x and y coordinate system. Okay, so this is called x and y coordinate system, or rectangular coordinate system, or Cartesian coordinate system. It's the same. Alright, now I want you to take a look at this example, because this example is kind of have so many data, so I don't think I'm gonna write over here, but I'm gonna just go ahead and show you the textbook. There you go. Oh. Okay, it's kind of too bright, right? Yeah, it's too bright, so I think I'm gonna just make it like a little bit darker. Here you go. It's still too bright, but let me move down a little bit here so that you can read it. Okay. So so this is the question. This is the data collected from the gas price. It's collecting for the gas price from 2006 to 2016, and they say that in 2006 the gas price per gallon is $2.32, and 2016 is $1.97. Okay, so this is the numerical data we already collected. Okay, and they ask us to write in order pair form. Okay, in order pair form. So we're gonna write in order pair form. It means we're gonna have open the parentheses, then we're gonna have x component and the y component. But the thing is this. Which point? Okay, I'm gonna have something to cover this. Okay. Which column corresponding to the x and which column corresponding to the y. So that's the problem. Okay, so this is the order pair form. So I'm gonna cover that because I already have the answer, so I'm gonna cover this. Okay, so at this moment we just know these two columns. Okay, so how are we gonna know which column corresponding to the x, which column corresponding to the y? To be actually, it doesn't matter. However, most of the time they use they display the time, the amount of time on the x-axis. It means what? It means that this column here will be displayed on the x-axis, and the column here will be displayed correspondingly to the y-axis. It means the y component. So this will be the x component. Okay. All right. However, we're not gonna put 2006 and 2007, and 2008, and 2009 on the x-axis. That could be too much. Okay, you can. Okay, you can draw the xy coordinate, and you put 2006 on the y on the x component, and you see that the increment it jumped by 1 year, right? So you're gonna draw. You're gonna have a 2007, and you will have 2008. Okay, and all the increment will be the same because you see it jumped by 1 year only. Okay, you can draw 2006 to 2016, but because right now you want to draw it in order pair. Okay, so the point, you're not going to use 2006 as the x component. Okay, you're not going to use 2006 as you're not going to write 2006 parenthesis 2006 comma 2.32 as the y component. No. Okay, you're going to draw 1 representing 2006. Okay, 2 represent or 0 represent 2006, 1 represent 2007. Okay, because they start with 2006, so 0 represent 2006, 1 represent 2007. Okay, and so on. Okay, and afterward you will have the coordinate. You will have an order pair. You have a bunch of points. It would be what? It would be 0 as the x component, comma 2.32 as the y component, and so on. Okay. So if you write 2006 comma 2.32, that is wrong. Okay, that is wrong. Okay, because 2006 is the year. It's not a value. Okay, it's not a value. It's not the x component. It's the year. Okay. All right. So I put 0, 2.32, and so on. Then you have 10, 1.97. Okay. So this is order pair form. Okay. So this is order pair form. All right. With x component and y component. X, y, x, y, x, y. All right. And we can display. We can locate all of these points. So we have how many points? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we're gonna grab this 11 points on the xy coordinate system. So you see that in this xy coordinate system, okay, we just need to grab the first quadrant. Actually, there's the second quadrant here, but usually it must be like this, right? Usually it must be like that. So you have first quadrant, second quadrant, the third quadrant, and the fourth quadrant. But we don't need these 3 quadrants at all. So I'm gonna have the y-axis right here. I'm gonna have the x-axis right here, right? And I'm gonna display this point on the x and y, so you have 0, right? And 2.32 is right here. 0, 2.32. So you have the first point right here. Okay. The highest point is over here is 3.4. The y component. The highest y component is 3.4. So you can stop at 4 right here. You can do at 5. Doesn't matter. Okay. Then you can draw the second point and all the point. Afterward, then you gotta connect all the points together, and it will give you a very, very beautiful graph. Okay. And you don't have to connect all the points, but it's much better if you go ahead and connect all the points. It just gives you the graph. Okay. All right. Then you will see what after you collect all the after you have all the points, you will have a very beautiful graph. And on the x-axis, represent the year, right? So you're gonna put year after 2006. So I mean 2006 is right here. 2006 is right here. Then it's 2007 right here. And finally you have 2016 right here, represented by number 10. Okay. And the y-axis represent the number, the amount of money, the price for each gallon. Okay, so that's the price for each gallon. Okay, and this represent the year after 2006. Okay, all right. So that is the way you display order pair form point on coordinate system. It's nothing hard, but as long as you can collect the data and as long as you can write the data in order pair form, it'll be very easy for you to display that on the coordinate system. Okay. Let me see if we have any other example here. Let me see. Well, I guess that all the example is kind of the same thing. So I think I'm gonna stop right here because that's all we need to know about the coordinate system. On the test, I just give you a table of data and I ask you display the data on the coordinate system, so you have to write it in order pair form, and maybe based on the graph, and I might just ask you some specific question, but in general this is all knowledge you need to know for coordinate system. Okay, so if you have any question on section 1.5, just let me know. Okay, other than that, I will see you next time in section 1.6. Bye bye.